Good morning, Andrews Elementary, and happy Wednesday. Looks like it's going to be another beautiful day today, another hot one. So make sure you get outside, but stay cool. All right, friends, I already miss you so much as the school year comes to a close, and I'm not seeing as many people in a Google Hangout, if at all. It really brings home the fact that we're on summer break. So I want you to remember that I love you very much and I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Hopefully, I can see you at some way, shape, or form over the summer break. But I'm going to continue to read, and I'm going to continue to post videos of me reading. Not every day, but a couple times a week. I'd like to. So make sure you're reading at home and contributing. So if you remember, we left off yesterday at a very exciting part. Okay, the centipede was getting going. He was singing some songs. Everybody was excited and happy. Um, and then all of a sudden, his last song got interrupted. And the last line of chapter 25 was, "Look out, centipede," cried James. "Look out." So we're on chapter 26. Quick announcements for the parents. If you have not had a chance to come in and pick up your students' belongings, we will be at the school today from 2 to 4 o'clock. Again, that's today at Andrews from 2 to 4 o'clock. You'll pull into the bus loop. You'll honk your horn if nobody's out there. A staff member will come out, ask you some information, and get you your belongings. So, 2 to 4. Hope to see you there. The centipede, who had begun dancing wildly round the deck during this song, had suddenly gone too close to the downward curving edge of the peach, and for 3 awful seconds he had stood teetering on the brink, swinging his legs frantically in circles in an effort to stop him from falling over backward into space. But before anybody could reach him, down he went. He gave a shriek of terror as he fell, and the others, rushing over to the side and peering over, saw his poor, long body tumbling over and over through the air, getting smaller and smaller until it was out of sight. "Silkworm!" yelled James. "Quick, start spinning!" The silkworm sighed, for she was still very tired from spinning all the silk for the seagulls, but she did as she was told. "I'm going down after him," cried James, grabbing the silk string as he started coming out of the silkworm and tying the end of it around his waist. "The rest of you hold on to Silkworm so I don't pull over, so she doesn't get pulled over with me. Later on, if you feel 3 tugs on the string, start hauling me up again." He jumped and he went tumbling down after the centipede, down, down, down towards the sea below, and you can imagine how quickly the silkworm had to spin to keep up with the speed of the fall. "We'll never see either of them again," cried the ladybird. Oh dear, just when we were all so happy too." Miss Spider, the glowworm, and the ladybird all began to cry. So did the earthworm. "I don't care a bit about centipede," the earthworm sobbed, "but I really did love that little boy." Very softly, the old green grasshopper started to play the funeral march on his violin, and by the time he had finished, everyone, including him, was in a flood of tears. Suddenly there came 3 sharp tugs on the rope. "Pull!" shouted the old green grasshopper. "Everybody get behind me and pull!" There was about a mile of string to be hauled in, but they all worked like mad, and in the end, over the side of the peach, there appeared a dripping wet James and a dripping wet centipede clinging to him tightly with all 42 of his legs. "He saved me," gasped the centipede. "He swam around in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean until he found me." "My dear boy," the green grasshopper said, patting James on the back, "I do congratulate you." "My boots!" cried the centipede. "Just look at my precious boots. They're ruined by the water." "Be quiet," the earthworm said. "You're lucky to be alive." "Are we still going up and up?" asked James. "We certainly are," answered the old green grasshopper, "and it's beginning to get dark." "I know, it'll be soon night. Why don't we all go down below and keep warm until tomorrow morning?" Miss Spider suggested. "No," the old green grasshopper said. "I think that would be very unwise. It will be safer if we all stay up here through the night and keep watch. Then, if anything happens, we shall be ready for it." Here's an illustration. Can you see that? All right. Chapter 27. James Henry Trotter and his companions crouched close together on top of the peach as the night began closing in around them. Clouds like mountains towered high above the heads, on all sides, mysterious, menacing, overwhelming. Gradually it grew darker and darker, and then a pale 3/4 moon came up over the top of the clouds and cast an eerie light over the whole scene. The giant peach swayed gently from side to side as it was floating along, and the hundreds of silky white strings going upward from the stem were beautiful in the moonlight. So also was the great flock of seagulls overhead. There was not a sound anywhere. Traveling upon the peach was not at least like traveling in an airplane. The airplane comes clattering and roaring through the sky, and whatever might be lurking secretly up there in a great cloud goes up running for cover as it approaches. That is why people who travel in airplanes never see anything. But the peach, ah yes, the peach was a soft, stealthier traveler, making no noise at all as it floated along. And several times during the long silent night ride, high over the middle of the ocean in the moonlight, James and his friends saw things that no one had ever seen before. Once, as they drifted silently past a massive white cloud, they saw on the top of it a group of strange, tall, wispy-looking things that were about twice the height of ordinary men. They were not easy to see at first because they were almost as white as the cloud itself. But as the peach sailed closer, it became obvious that these things were actually like living creatures. Tall, wispy, wrap-like shadowy white creatures who looked as though they were in the middle of a mixture of cotton wool and candy floss and thin white hairs. Ooh, the ladybird said, I don't like this at all. Shh, whispered back. James whispered, don't let them hear you. They must be cloud men. Cloud men, they murmured, huddled closer together for comfort. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm glad I'm blind and I can't see them, the earthworm said, or I would probably scream. I hope they don't turn around and see us, Miss Spider stammered. Do you think they'd eat us, the earthworm asked. They would eat you, the centipede answered, grinning. They'd cut you up like salami and eat you in thin slices. The poor earthworm began to quiver all over with fright. But what are they doing? The old green grasshopper whispered. I don't know, James answered softly. Let's watch and see it. The cloudmen were all standing in a group, and they were doing something peculiar with their hands. First they would reach out, all of them at once, and grab handfuls of clouds. Then they would roll those handfuls of clouds in their finger until they turned into what looked like large white marbles. Then they would toss the marbles on the side and quickly grab more bits of cloud and start over again. It was all very silent and mysterious. The pile of marbles began to keep growing larger and larger. Soon there was a truckload of them there at least. They must be absolutely mad, the centipede said. There's nothing to be afraid here. Be quiet, you pest, the earthworm whispered. We shall all be eaten if they see us. But the cloudmen were much too busy with what they were doing to have noticed the great peach floating silently up behind them. Then the watchers on the peach saw one of the cloudmen raising his long, wispy arms above his head, and they heard him shouting, All right, boys, that's enough. Get the shovels. Here's an illustration. Can you see the cloudmen on top of the clouds, making the marbles? And all the other cloudmen immediately let out a strange, high-pitched whoop of joy and started jumping up and down and waving their arms in the air. Then they picked up enormous shovels and rushed over to the pile of marbles and began shoveling them as fast as they could over the side of the cloud into space. Down they go, they chanted as they worked. Down they go, hail and snow, freeze and sneeze, and noses will blow. It's hailstones, whispered James excitedly. They've been making hailstones, and now they're showering them down to the people below. Hailstones, the centipede said. That's ridiculous. This is summertime. You don't have hailstones in the summertime. They are practicing for the winter, James told him. I don't believe it, shouted the centipede, raising his voice. Shh, the others whispered, and James said softly, For heaven's sake, centipede, don't make so much noise. The centipede roared with laughter. Those imbeciles couldn't hear anything, he cried. They're deaf as doorknobs. You watch. And before anyone could stop him, he cupped his front feet to his mouth and was yelling at the cloudmen as loud as he could. Idiots, he yelled. Nincompoops, half-wits, blubberheads. What on earth do you think you're doing over there? I don't think that's a good idea. The effect was immediate. The cloudmen jumped round as they had been stung by wasps, and when they saw the great golden peach floating past them not 50 yards away in the sky, they gave a yelp of surprise and dropped their shovels to the ground. And there they stood with the moonlight streaming down all over them, absolutely motionless, like a group of tall, white, hairy statues, staring and staring at the gigantic fruit as it went sailing by. The passengers on the peach, all except the centipede, sat frozen with terror, looking back at the cloudmen and wondering what was going to happen next. Now you've done it, you loathsome pest, whispered the earthworm to the centipede. I'm not frightened of them, shouted the centipede, and to show everybody once again that he wasn't, he stood up to his full height and started dancing around and making insulting signs at the cloudmen with all 42 of his legs. This evidently infuriated the Cloudmen beyond belief. All at once, they spun round and grabbed great handfuls of hailstones and rushed to the edge of the clouds, started throwing them at the Peach, shrieking with fury all the time. "Look out!" cried James. "Quick, lie down! Lie flat on the deck!" It was lucky they did. A large hailstone can hurt you as much as a rock or a lump on the head, if it's thrown hard enough. And oh my goodness, how these Cloudmen could throw. The hailstones came whizzing through the air like bullets from a machine gun, and James could hear them smashing against the sides of the Peach and burying themselves in the peach flesh with horrible squelching noises. Plop, 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 and then ping, 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 as they bounced off the poor ladybird's shell, because she couldn't lie as flat as the others. And then crack, as one of them hit the centipede right in the nose, and crack, again another one hit them somewhere else. "Ow!" he cried. "Ow! Stop, stop, stop!" But the Cloudmen had no intention of stopping. James could see them rushing about the clouds like a huge, hairy ghosts, picking up hailstones from the pile, dashing to the edge of the cloud, hurling the hailstones at the Peach, dashing back again to get more, and then, when the pile of stones were gone, they simply grabbed handfuls of cloud and made as many more as they wanted, and much bigger ones now, some of them as large as cannonballs. "Quickly," cried James, "down the tunnel or we'll be wiped out." There was a rush for the tunnel entrance, and half a minute later, everybody was safely down the stairs inside the stone of the Peach, trembling with fright and listening to the noise of the hailstones as they came crashing against the side of the Peach. "I'm a wreck," groaned the centipede. "I'm wounded all over." "Serves you right," said the earthworm. "Would somebody kindly look and see if my shell is cracked?" the ladybird said. "Give us some light," shouted the old green grasshopper. "I can't," wailed the glowworm. "They've broken my bulb." "Then put in another one," the centipede said. "Be quiet a moment," said James. "Listen, I do believe they're not hitting us anymore." They all stopped, talking and listening. Yes, the noise had ceased. The hailstones were no longer smashing against the Peach. We've left them behind. The seagulls must have pulled away, out of danger. "Hooray, let's go up and see." Cautiously, with James going first, they all climbed back up the tunnel. James poked his head out and looked around. "It's all clear," he called. "I can't see them anywhere." All right, that's the end of chapter 27. So tomorrow we'll read chapter 28. All right, friends, again, reminder, today from 2 to 4 is pickup time. Have a great Wednesday. Remember, if nobody told you they love you today, I love you all very much. Have a great day.